And listen, as I said, you're in for a treat. So I'm going to go ahead and move myself out the way because I know y'all can hardly wait. And you really didn't come to hear me. You really came to hear from this young lady. Y'all, she is in that Atlanta, Georgia area. I don't know where she is across the world because she's probably somewhere spreading her sparkles around the world because she is a globe traveler. As I she's always somewhere different. Everyone, she's a 3-star director inside this amazing opportunity who has a team of well over 500 individuals. She's a 6-figure income earner. Yes, successful in this side of this opportunity. She's a mother of 4, but guess what? She understood motherhood, but she understood being a powerful business owner herself. Miss Tisha Deshields, did you make it on the line with us on tonight?
Yes, ma'am. I am here, Director Mayberry-McCombs. How are you this evening?
I am amazing. Where are you in the world? I got to ask that. Oh, it's a secret. It is no telling. I'm like, is she in London, France, Paris, Greece, wherever? But I know that you globe-trotting around the globe. And I want to thank you for this opportunity to interview you on tonight. And I thought the theme was fitting because I said went from the sideline to the center stage. And I really thought this was fitting, but people don't know much about you. And we're going to jump into that on tonight. But thank you again for just entrusting us and sharing your story with us on tonight. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Director McCombs. I'm just excited to be here just to share my story. And I'm ready to sit here in the hot seat and I'm ready for us to unpack this information.
Yeah, she said a hot seat because she know me. We're gonna talk about some good things on tonight, but I promise you it's going to help you. Her story is going to inspire you. So let's jump right in because you know my first question. Can you start just telling us a little bit about yourself? Because I met you now, 8 years ago? 8 years ago. And most men would say it's love at first sight. It was definitely love friend at first sight. Yeah. We became friends. We began to talk. We began to share, and I got a chance to really know you. You came to Huntsville and you did the women's locker room with us here in Huntsville, Alabama. And that's where I got to know you a little bit more intimately. And, your story inspired me, but I just want you to share with the people, who is Miss Tish Deshields?
Well, thank you so much again. I'm Tish Deshields. I come from very, very humble beginnings. I grew up in a small state, in a small town, Seaford, Delaware. I don't know if many of you been there, but it's very, very quaint. Again, come from humble beginnings, live in Atlanta, Georgia, been there for about 25 years. Married very young. I got married at 19. Yes, I was a child bride. Got married, had 4 incredibly gifted children. And I'm sure we've got some mothers on the line who feel like their children are incredibly gifted. But I know they are, but I just want you to know that mine are gifted. My kids play sports and they play sports at the highest level. So I am that mom that literally has been going city to city, state to state, and country to country with her kids. So I was a product of the product travel. I just was on the wrong side of the industry. I was just on the wrong side of the industry, having no idea that I was leaving so much money on the table. And so I'm just like most of you on the line, raising children, extremely busy. And I just want you to know that once we have this conversation, you're going to realize that if I can do it, you can do it too. Back to you, Miss McCombs.
And Mr. Shields, you said something great. Your kids were incredibly gifted, but you always leave out this part. So were you. You were into sports. You played ball. You actually, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Absolutely, yes. So I too am an athlete, a former athlete. I competed at University of Tennessee. I'm a Lady Vol. My blood runs orange. But I ran track there. So I ran track and field. I am a heptathlete. So for those of you who don't know what that is, a heptathlete is someone who competes in 7 events. So I was one of those crazy people who was like Jackie Joyner-Kersee. You may have heard of that amazing young lady, but I did 7 events just like Jackie Joyner-Kersee, qualified for the 92 Olympics in the heptathlon. However, because I was married, I found out I was pregnant. So in my mind, I realized, at that moment, I was supposed to be a mother. So, of course, I shelved my dreams to become a mom. And I have not looked back. It's been by far, an amazing journey, motherhood. And I'm just so excited, that I was able to give birth to some incredibly gifted children.
And I wanted to go there because I wanted people to know your true background. I wanted people to hear, how you did sacrifice as a mom of four, how you did put your career on the shelf. And you said, nope, I was destined to be a mom. And a lot of moms on here do the exact same thing. We say to ourselves, nope, I can't be an entrepreneur. Nope, I can't do this. Nope, I'm a mom. I got to be there at every sporting event. I got to be. So we're going to talk about how you've been able to juggle this. But what was your initial career or life path before starting this business? Because not only this business, but you're a traditional entrepreneur. Do you mind talking a little bit about that as well?
Absolutely, sure. Again, I was married at 19 and I was a domestic engineer initially. That's just a fancy word for housewife. That was me. I was a housewife. And, when I found myself divorced, I decided that I was going to start my own business. And I started a business, Original Belly Works, where I was creating plaster molds of people's pregnant bellies. Okay. So what we would do, we were plastic pregnant women's bellies. Then we would fiberglass those bellies, put a pocket in the back for keepsakes and mementos. And the blank canvas of the belly became, it was a blank canvas that we got to decorate. So many of our bellies morphed into butterflies. They had some incredible designs on them. So again, we created keepsakes for pregnant moms. So that was my traditional business. And yes, it was very costly to start it. I had to get patents in various different countries. And so I definitely understand how expensive starting a business, maintaining a business, and launching a business can be.
I'm glad you added that. See, you already know. I'm glad you added that because that's going to, go into our next question. Everybody think about, being a mom, really loving the fact of being a wife, being a mom, being divorced. And then, deciding, wait a minute, I got some hidden talents. I'm going to go into traditional entrepreneurship. So did your children becoming professional athletes influence your personal and professional life any? If so, how?
Well, you know what, Miss Mayberry-McCombs, I would say as a mom, like all of us on here, we just want the best for our children. And, we raise our kids to be A and B students, and many times, our kids literally learn by seeing us, watching us, not so much of what we say to them, but they learn by watching us. And so I spent so much time telling my kids, that they are victorious, right? Telling my kids that they can do whatever they wanted to do. And as they went off to do whatever they wanted to do, I wanted my kids to see me doing what I wanted to do, right? I wanted them to see me win, and I wanted them to see me get some hardware, because again, my kids are playing sports, and what many don't know is out of those four children, two of my biological children are professional athletes. But here's something else, Miss Mayberry. I ended up adopting a young lady as well. So I have four biological children and one bonus daughter. And out of the five, three are professional athletes. We have a total of 7 gold medals in my household. So again, my kids are out here getting rings and things. I wanted them to see me get rings and things. So yes, this business is so much bigger than travel for me. It's about helping people and helping them, get the desires of their heart. Back to you, Miss Mayberry.
I love it. And you got a fourth one coming up. That one definitely, I can't wait to see what's next for her. But okay, so balancing family and career, let's go into that. How did you manage to balance raising your 4 children with demanding sports schedules while building your business? Because Ms. Deshields, I seen you go from Texas to Chicago to Florida to even during the pandemic. I'm like, okay, sis, where are you? I'm driving the dog back. Dog back from where? You're going to pick up dogs. Not only you raising kids, but you're raising dogs. How in the world? But you still managed to build a successful business.
Absolutely. Here's what I would like to say to that person who's struggling with balance. A lot of people ask me, Director Mayberry-McCombs, about this balance. And let me be the first. Let me just be the first to tell everybody on the line, there is balance. None. There is balance. So I'm probably going to free some people tonight because a lot of people really feel like they have to juggle and they have to have this balance. And I'm going to tell you, there are some days, ladies and gentlemen, where I am an incredible mother, right? Then there are days when I'm an incredible friend, or an incredible family member, an incredible leader, business leader, but very few times, if ever, am I incredible in all of those things at the exact same time. So understand that you are not going to be the best version all the time, and give yourself grace. And I think so many times as entrepreneurs and moms, and come on, mothers, we know we wear many hats, right? We want to keep this balance. And I think somebody needs to let you know that it's okay to not be your best version on a particular day or a particular
pizza tonight. Well, yeah, let's do that. Mom, can we do that tomorrow night? Right. So I love that part. So I love that because there isn't a such thing as balance. And I've realized that now, being newly married, I'm like, okay, how can, and then, my husband always reminds me, no, there's going to be nights that you're not going to cook. There'll be nights that, we go eat out. There's going to be nights that we make sandwiches. I'm okay with that. Mm-hmm. And if you have that frank conversation and that, that conversation with your family, they begin to understand and they understand where you are right now. Because I ask moms all the time, do you rather, would you rather struggle, with your finances, or do you rather, do something different and understand there are things you have to sacrifice, things you might miss. So you took the juggling part. Can you share strategies and routines that help you stay organized and focus? Because that's one thing that we always say is not hocus pocus, but it's focus. And building a business, you got to be focused.
You got to be focused, and you have to set a regimen, a daily regimen. But I'm going to tell you, with this business model, many of you are aware that there are two businesses, right? Two businesses with an exclusive relationship. Director Mayberry-McCombs, I literally work both businesses, okay? I'm very heavy on booking travel, and I'm very heavy on building a team. So what I had to do, though, was I had to designate certain days of the week where I can focus on, especially booking travel. So Mondays and Tuesdays usually are my heavy days in booking travel in terms of getting those quotes out, and working on those group trips. Now, the rest of the time, because I have chosen to spend 90% of my time building. And so Mr. White is in my DMs having a conversation with me. And I saw it as a way for me, yes, to start making money without having to get a job. So I did meet Mr. White for lunch. He shared with me a business model, and I was floored because I had absolutely no idea that there was money, there was commissions embedded into all those travel transactions that I was doing, right? Many of you on the line right now, if you are a guest, you have been booking travel, right? You've been doing all the research, on top of the research, comparing prices. Newsflash, you are the bootleg travel agent. Okay, that's what you are. But on tonight, I hope you would, hang up your bootleg travel agent hat and put on merchant hat. Let us show you how you can tap into that commission that's already embedded into your transactions. I got started Director Mayberry-McCombs, one, because I needed some money, but two, I was a product of the product. And in my mind, I was going to be my best client. You know what I mean? If I didn't book anybody else's travel, I just knew because my kids play sports and I, as a mother, was going to support them that I was going to be my best client. So yes, I got started to make some money and to save on my own travel. Back to you.
I love it. I love it. How many people out here are crisscrossing the country, or maybe you want to crisscross country? It's two reasons people don't travel. It's time and money. And I love that our opportunity help people get their time back as well as earn the income that they desire. Having the ability to earn 4 to 5 checks a month, 7 to 8 streams of income. And you know, it probably, I know you'd say to yourself, Mr. Shields, this is one of the best decisions you made in your life. Because as I sit back and I look at, you know, just in May, how many times we've gotten paid in May, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times in May. And we should get paid, what, maybe 2 more?
Yes.
Possibly 9?
Yeah.
Times in May.
Absolutely.
9 checks. And y'all, I'm not talking about some little money. I'm talking about checks with commas in it. Okay, so Ms. Deshields, you know, you come from a circle of people, high-end individuals. So, you know, coming into the network marketing industry, most people think it's taboo. I'm not, you know, I'm just going to do the travel portion, I book my travel. I know I thought that too. People going to, you know, what people say about me. So did you face any skepticism or doubt from others when you decided to start your business? And how did you handle that?
Yes, I did. And the biggest skeptic probably was my mother.
Mine too. Now, what's the coincidence?
I laugh because, you know, my mother understood the strains that were on my finances. And so I was working my business because this was 40 days and 40 nights. Like, we going hard in the paint. You know, we locked in. And I just can recall my mother saying, honey, they're hiring at Walmart. And I was looking at her like, I'm not going to Walmart. Like, she was really trying to put me in Walmart. And not to say, not to those that work at Walmart, but she just, anytime she saw some kind of hiring on the television, she wanted me to apply. And I'm like, no, I'm working on something here, right? Really working on something. But she didn't understand at all. And so, of course, when I started to make, she still didn't quite understand. I'm sure she thought I was doing something illegal because she's like, where is this money coming from? Because this girl is not going to work nowhere. You know, my mom is old school. She doesn't understand the power of making money online. So in her mind, she's like, how is this girl making money? So it wasn't until, you know, a few months into this opportunity that I actually brought her to a meeting and she got to see, you know, me go in front of the room, get a better idea of the culture that I was a part of, get a better understanding of my business goal. And now my mother is the biggest fan. She's constantly referring people to my business because she has a better understanding. So yes, there are some people who were not on board, and it can sometimes, most times, be the people closest to you, like your mother. Okay.
I love it. It's showing the evidence. That was my mom. Just showing the evidence, being able to write a check, or when you need 200, 300, paying off the house, you know, paying on insurance, you know, doing those types of things. She realized, wait a minute, this is not a little business. This business is really paying the money, right? So you have to show the evidence. And some people really think network marketing is not a real career. Can you speak on that? Because honestly, 85% of women make 6 figures in the network marketing industry. And people always say, I ain't gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. But we're referring people to something all the time anyway. I hear traditional business owners, like you and I were, you know, we have traditional businesses, but we understood multiple streams of income. So can you touch on that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, it's important to have multiple streams of income. One, because you just never know when something happens. You know, we ask a lot of our prospects this question. and I'm going to pose it today. Do you know why you have a spare tire in your car, right? That spare tire in your car is there just in case of an emergency, right? So if you understand that concept, you should understand the concept of having some spare income. And you might be doing well right now financially, but this business is taking people from well to wealthy, right? Even if you are making six figures on your plan A and you love your plan A, it's perfectly fine because you can literally do this and that. We have several agents that are partnered up with us right now that are literally making six figures by day, and they're making six figures by night on a part-time basis. And then once they get to the point, because I've heard some of them share their dreams and their goals with me, they says, Tish, as soon as we exceed income on our plan A, we are going to donate that job back to the economy. So if you're listening in right now and you want to be in that position to donate your job back to the economy, I'm telling you on tonight, it can happen right here because we've seen it happen. We've got the documentation that it's possible for people to do this and that and make a lot of money where they can donate their job back to the economy. Back to you, Director Mayberry-McCombs.
I love it. I love it. And I'm truly the evidence that it happens. Six figures by day, six figures by night, and then $250,000. And that's when I fired my boss and retired myself. My mom still thought I was crazy. You leaving that good government job? I cannot believe you leaving that with benefits. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm making $25,000 a month. You don't understand where I am right now. She didn't understand. Some people will not understand. They will tell you that you're crazy. They will tell you your dreams are crazy. They will tell you, no, that doesn't work. And I always ask people, well, how do you know it doesn't work? Did you do it? No, I just know I've heard. But see, that's one reason why people stay where they are, because they don't want to do anything different. You go by what you've heard, and then you go by tradition.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's different. All right. What have been some of the most rewarding aspects of your journey from the sideline to the center stage? I've heard you on stage, at the convention, in front of the room. Tish, I have watched you go from, Letoria, I'm not getting in front of this room. You are not putting me in front of this room. No. And I'm like, oh, yes, you are.
That's why I'm smiling.
And now I see you, talking in front of the room. I see you on Zooms. I see I saw you evolve because you used to be from the sideline hollering. I'm sure you're the loudest one in the crowd too. But now to the actually center stage.
Woo, wait, boy, that's a lot right there. I could speak for hours on this topic because let me tell you, and I know we've got some people listening in right now, but I was one of those people who had a fear, not just a fear, but a big fear of public speaking. I could do well one-on-one, eyeball to eyeball, but in terms of putting me in front of the room, baby, oh my gosh, it was bad. It was very, very bad.
And she was not bad doing it, y'all. She was not. She just thought she was bad. Let me put that in there.
Boy, I shook, I trembled, I blacked out at times. But here's what I want to say to those people who have a fear of public speaking. When your fear is so massive, and this is just me talking about public speaking, but you could be having a fear of actually picking up the phone and making that call to your friend to share the business. Every one of us on this line probably have struggled with some form of fear. But here's what I want to tell you on today. The size of your fear is in direct correlation to the size of your blessing. So because my fear was so massive, it was literally a Goliath in my life. And the moment I got on stage and slayed my Goliath, I'll never forget it. It was September. It was the convention in Atlanta in September 2018, when Mr. Bradley asked me to get on stage. And when I tell you, it was my biggest nightmare, guys. It was my biggest nightmare. And here's why. Even though I only had to speak for 3 minutes, I had to speak in front of 2,000 people, and I had to come behind Director Damian Goins. So if anybody knows who Director Goins is, he is one of the most, charismatic, people on stage. And I was crippled with the thought that I was going to have to get on stage and come behind Damian. And I was so crippled that I actually lost my voice the night before I was supposed to speak. That's how paralyzing my fear was. And so the day that I actually had to speak, literally moments before I got on the stage, I promise you, I heard God say to me, smile and have fun, right? And so the first words that came out of my mouth that day was when I began to speak and go over my 3-minute speech. But I practiced for that speech, guys. When I tell you I practiced, you would have thought that I was getting ready to give the presidential inaugural address. That's how serious this, preparation for this speech was. So I practiced, only to the night before lose my voice. So, but I got through it, and so many people enjoyed it, and it was truly a blessing. But when you realize that this business you have is so much bigger to you, here's what I want to ask, at least the business partners on the line right now, because some of the business partners right now are not being vocal about their business, right? They're still waiting for the right time. You're still getting ready to get ready. Well, guys, we have the evidence that it works. I want you all to know that you have the cure for whatever financial woes that other people have. You have the cure. So think about this for a minute. If you had the cure for COVID, if you had the cure for cancer, would you be quiet about it, right? Would you? Probably not. I want you to understand that on today, you have the cure for financial woes. If you are a guest right now, you can get partnered with us and let us show you how you can cure your financial ailments, right? And go help some other people cure their financial problems. So this is so much bigger than travel, guys. It really is. And I just kind of wanted to, for whatever reason, say that, because I don't think people really realize what they have in their hands or what they could have in their hands. This is an incredible vehicle that can free not just you, but free your friends and loved ones financially forever.
I love that. And you always hear me like it as a ministry for me, because coming inside the opportunity, I was earning 6 figures, but it became a ministry because I'm that single mom. So I knew the struggles of single moms. Even though I was making 6 figures, I knew the majority of people in my circle were not. And they needed that financial cure. They needed a way out. And I had it in the palm of my hand. And why would I keep quiet about it just because of what someone says and what somebody thinks? Mm-hmm. Now that fear will paralyze you and keep you from your destiny, keep you from your bank account, and keep you from really truly achieving the things that you want in life. So you got to conquer that fear. You got to do it anyway. Mess it up. As Mr. Moore used to tell me, mess it up and I'll dress it up. When you mess it up, I'm going to come behind you. And I messed it up over and over again. But I remember your speech at convention, and it was amazing. It was amazing. Even when you came to Huntsville and you spoke in the room, it wasn't 2,000 people, but it might have been 100. You were amazing. And I kept saying that, no, you are amazing. And just to see the growth now is definitely phenomenal. What advice would you give to other parents who are trying to, since we're not saying balance anymore, but prioritize that family life with starting their own business? Because most people are saying, I'm busy. I'm busy being a mom. I'm busy being a wife. I'm busy with my full-time job. So what would you say to those people who looking at the opportunity over and over again, not sure if they can do it, saying that, they can't balance this? What would you say to those individuals?
Well, I would first say there must be a season of sacrifice. It just has to be, right? Understanding that there must be a season of sacrifice, because if you don't sacrifice for what you want, what you want becomes the sacrifice. Okay. In order for you to achieve your goals and your desires in life, you gotta sacrifice something. I can tell you right now, and I'm gonna go back to my kids when they were, pursuing their dreams of being the best, like I'll say baseball player, in middle school, or the best basketball player in middle school. For those of you who have Jewish friends, middle school is when those children have bar mitzvahs and bar mitzvahs, right? It's a rites of passage in the Jewish community. So my kids had several Jewish friends, right? And during middle school, my kids could not go to the bar mitzvahs or the bar mitzvahs because they had games, all right? They had to sacrifice those parties and those events because their team needed them. And then when my kids got into high school, they didn't go to prom. No, when everybody else was going to prom, they couldn't, especially my daughters, because that's March Madness for them, right? So they had to sacrifice prom. But look at them now, right? Look at them now. Had they not made those sacrifices, they would I'm not going to say they would not be where they are now, but it might have been a little bit of a struggle, okay? A little more of a struggle. So, you're going to have to sacrifice some things in order to get where you want to be. For instance, when I joined this company, I live in Atlanta, Georgia. And if you live in Atlanta, you already know what Tuesday night is in Atlanta, Georgia. It is game night. When I committed to this business, as well as some of the other leaders, the founding directors, we made a commitment that game night was a non-negotiable, right? So if you're in a city where you have access to a weekly meeting or whatever that meeting is, make it a non-negotiable. That's where you get better. But here's what I want to say to you. My kids play basketball on a varsity level on Tuesdays and Friday night. So I had to have a conversation with them. And I had to ask my children who are number one in the country at the time, I had to have a conversation with them and say, I'm going to miss Tuesday night games, right? But I'll make it to Friday night games. And my kids were okay with that because, again, we've got some parents on the line who feel like they have to be at all the games. You don't have to be at all the games, especially when they get big. Now, if they little babies and they 5 years old, perhaps you should definitely be there as often as you can. But when they're in high school, guys, I've had 5 children go through high school. And when they're in high school, after their games, they try to hang out with their boo, their bae, or their friends. They're not trying to hang out with their mama, right? So you can miss a game, I'm telling you, they will be fine, all right? So don't feel like you have to be at all of your kids' activities. Sacrifice some time so that you can build a legacy company for them. And they will thank you for it later. Back to you, Director Mayberry-McCombs.
I love that. Sacrifice will pay you more than your excuses, everybody. Anybody who you've seen that's been successful, they've sacrificed some things. They've missed some things. One of the things that I realized in just being an entrepreneur that, I had to sacrifice. And a lot of people will start in the business, or before they start in the business, they'll ask the questions. Do I got to get on Zooms? Do I got to go to these meetings? Do I have to attend these trainings? How much training? I already know right then and there, you're not going to be successful because you're already limiting yourself asking the question, how many do I have to? If you really want to be successful at something, you're finding things to get into instead of things to get out of. When you have to go to your trainings at work, you don't ask your boss how many trainings I got to attend. No, when they say you got to do this many hours, as they do in the government, you go on that computer and you're doing those hours to keep your job. But you won't sacrifice anything for yourself to build your own fortune. Everybody, the name of the game here is sacrifice. To be an entrepreneur, you got to sacrifice. You got to give up to go up. That's just it. And we're about to round it up. I got 2 more questions for you. How has your journey let's do this one. What legacy do you hope to leave your children and others who look up to you?
Well, this is what I've learned, and some of you have learned this as well. Success is what happens to you, but significance is what happens through you, right? What are you going to leave behind? What will people say about you, right? I've already told my kids, I'm a little eccentric, and my kids sometimes think I'm a little off, but I love every aspect of my personality. And I've told my kids that at some point I want them to erect a statue in my honor, right? And I want the hair blowing in the wind, because I want my grandkids to say, hey, that lady did something, right? She did something in 2020 when there was a pandemic. She built a legacy company, right? I want to not just only show my kids, you know what I'm saying, how to go get this money, but I want to empower everyone that comes in contact with me, because this business model, works. And not only does this business model work, I'm so thankful for the sideline partners that I've had, the friends that have become family, friends and family. So I've met some incredible people. I spend more time now, I think, with my business partners than I do my actual family, because again, your family may not see it, right? And it's okay. If you want to get to those higher levels, understand that this business model is a personal development program with a high compensation plan attached to it. And the fact that you're on this Zoom right now lets us know that you're attached to someone who has access. That's going to be key to your success as well, is being connected to someone who has access to the information, access to the tools, access to the systems, so that you don't have to keep bumping your head trying to figure it out, because we've already figured it out for you. So the fact that you're on here tonight, you need to text that person if you're a guest and say thank you, because not only will you be in business for yourself, but look at all these leaders on the line. We've got layers of leadership here. So we're going to help coach you to your wealthy place if that's your desire, or we're going to help you go on a whole lot of trips and travel like a rock star, right? But how about do both? I say, let's do both. Let's travel like rock stars, make some money, and free some families financially. All right, back to you, Ms. McCombs.
My last question. How do you hope to inspire others with your story? I mean, what would you probably just summed that up, what you would say to the guests that's on the line, but is there anything else you would like to add to that?
I would. I think sharing my story, I think, is going to help those people who, like I said, have had tremendous fears or have fears, understanding that on the other side of that Goliath, on the other side of that fear is a big blessing. The reason I know my fear was so tremendous was because my blessing is so tremendous. Because if the Goliath, listen to this, if the Goliath in my life was, I don't know, writing a sentence or, something simple, then the blessing may not be that big. But the fact that this Goliath was so massive, it's because the enemy wants to keep me quiet. There's power of life in my tongue. And when I realize that it's the words that come out of my mouth, me sharing information is what's going to free people financially, right? So the more I talk, that's why I lost my voice that night. The enemy did not want me to talk, right? So when you understand where your fear comes from, understand there's a reason why that fear is there, and you gotta slay it. You gotta slay that Goliath. You gotta go free those people. You gotta pick up the telephone, because you have something very, very valuable. So don't keep it to yourselves. Scream it to the top of the roof. I mean, I'm sure Director Mayberry-McCombs, when people are around you, your friends and family, and you're out in public, you're constantly talking about your business. I know I am. I'm always talking about my business, because again, I have the cure to what is financially challenging people. So let me free some people by just sharing information. And it's been life-changing for me. I'm so happy of my sideline business partners, my upline, downline, whatever. I'm so thankful for Planet Marketing. I'm so thankful that Mr. Shedrick White saw me on the internet and was not afraid to go into my DMs because he wanted to help me travel better for less. So many of you are connected to people that you see traveling around the world. Reach out to them. You don't know what they're praying for, because I'm going to tell you one thing. When Mr. White saw my pictures, it didn't look like I was robbing Peter to pay Paul, right? Some of you are connected to some people who are traveling 5-star and they live in those $1 million homes and they probably driving those fancy cars. Guess what? They still looking for something, right? Just because it looks like they got it going on, they sometimes can be broke too. They just broke at higher levels. And they're waiting for you to open your mouth. So don't keep this a secret. Share this with as many people as you can. And don't be upset when they don't partner up with you. Be the evidence, right? And I just want you to know that don't, if not this, if you're looking at this opportunity for the first time, the second time, or the third time, if not this, then what? If not now, then when are you going to do that thing? When are you going to do that thing to generate some extra income? When? There's never going to be a perfect time. It's just not. So stop waiting for the perfect time and be like Nike and just do it. Back to you, Director Mayberry-McCombs.
I love it. I love it. It is just so funny. I was sharing that with someone today, and as of yesterday, they were like, well, every time I get ready to get started, life happens. And I said to them, that's the enemy. The enemy don't want you to be prosperous. The enemy saying, ooh, all I have to do is just, distract Pamela. I'll break her car down. Her tire flat. Somebody needs some money. You got this bill to pay. That's how the enemy does, because the enemy sees your breakthrough. And when the enemy knows that God has delivered your breakthrough, he's going to try every trick in the book to keep you from making the decision to do what you need to do. Somebody is listening tonight and saying, you know what? I need something different in my life. You might not be broke, busted, and disgusted. You might just be looking for something to fulfill your life right at this moment in life. And whatever it is, you got an opportunity where you can coach, train, develop. You can help people. You can travel the world, save money on your travel, save money on your taxes, whatever desire you have. This is it. Y'all, this business is so bigger than, just being able to own your own travel business, help other people. It's a bigger picture. So we're going to stop right here. We can stop the recording, Amanda, if you don't mind. And I want to take a few questions, just a few, because we're going to let Ms. Deshields go, because we know she got other things going on. If you don't mind, we're going to take 2 to 3
recording
questions.
Stopped.
And I really want it to be from our guest only. If you're a guest on the line and you have a question for Ms. Deshields, you can come off mute, or you can type it in chat, or raise your hand. How about this? Raise your hand and let us call you and call upon you, and you can ask your questions. Guests on the line. Going once. All right. Adrian Kettle. I see you. You can come off mute and ask your question.
Yeah, good night.
Good night.
So, question. How do you get past the imposter syndrome?
The what syndrome?
Imposter syndrome.
How do you get past the imposter syndrome?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to elaborate a little bit more, Mr. Deshields, or?
How do I get past the imposter syndrome or?
Imposter. I guess, are you talking about like a scam, it being a scam or something of that nature?
No, like, for instance, in cases where you meet persons out on the streets or wherever, and you want to tell them about, what you do and what you're venturing into, but it's like that from a doubt and stuff like that.
Okay, so you're saying when you meet people on the street, you want to tell them about your business. However, they don't really know who you are.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. Good questions. Okay.
Well, here's what I would like to say. First and foremost, Adrian, just have a conversation with that person. Make it natural. All right. Get to know that person. Know something about that person. Here's what I will say. If you are talking to someone, maybe you could say, hey, you got any summer plans? You have any plans to travel this summer? Most people do, right? The summer is approaching. If they do have travel plans that they would like to do, make, that's a great way to segue into saying, hey, what if I could show you how you can potentially save on that travel that you're about to take and make some extra money? Would you be interested? Right? Make it natural. Don't automatically go at the jugular and start talking about sharing a business opportunity with them because they don't know you, right? These people that you meet on the street or you're sitting in the hotel lobby or at the bus station, they don't know you. So make it natural. It's a very easy conversation to have. Like I said, a lot of people have family members that are graduating and they had to travel to those graduations, so make it easy. Here's what my coach taught me. He said, as you're talking to people, listen. You have 2 ears to hear, twice as much as you say. So listen to what they're saying. People will naturally kind of tell you a lot about themselves without you even having to ask questions. So find the problem that they're having in their life and solve it, right? If they tell you that their husband is working long hours and they want to bring him home early or retire him early, that's a problem for that young lady. Now you can say, hey, what if I could show you how you can have a home-based business and generate some extra income without getting a second job? Would that interest you? I'm sure whoever you're talking to is going to be open to what you have to say because they've already identified that they have a problem. Okay.
And also, I just want to add a little bit to this because, Adrian, you're feeling that anxiety when you're talking to people you don't know because you don't know them. They don't know you. And as my coach say, stranger danger. People look at you as, oh man, this is a stranger that and you don't really know what to say to that person. But one of the things that I realized that when I talk to people I don't know, I talk to them in places where I know that we got some kind of commonality. Like if we're on the plane together, they're traveling. I already know that we're on the plane together. We're at the airport together, right? If we're we're in a shop and we're both all looking at swimsuits, swim trunks, we're going somewhere. So it's easy to start those natural conversations, like Mr. Deshields said. But honestly, with us, what we did, we started with the people we know. And the reason why we started with the people we know, because we know their why. We know what's hurting them. We know their problems, right? That's why she said, find the need and meet it, find the hurt and heal it, find the problem and solve it. It's easy to do with the people you know. It's not easy to do with the people you don't know. Sometimes you have to just build rapport with those people when you meet them on the street. Just build rapport, give them your business card and move on. And then keep in touch with those people. And then maybe later you can introduce them to your business. Hopefully that helped. And that will cut back on some of your anxiety, because I think what's happening is when you're approaching people, you like, oh my gosh, what do I say? And you're trying to think of things to say because it's not coming natural because you really hadn't been in the business long enough. You probably don't know what to say. So that's why we say stick with the people that you do know. Questions? One more. Guess. Any guess? Going once? Going twice? And y'all, with this too, we also, we coach and train, develop people on this aspect of how to talk, how to pique their interest, what to say, and all of that. You're going to be trained on that. So that was one thing I didn't have, I started thinking, why do I want this business? What was it, the reason why I got started? And I knew the reason why I got started. So I started using that reason with everybody else. Somebody felt the same way I did. Somebody had their daughter on the way to college and needed to pay that college tuition. Somebody wanted to travel more being a single mom, but never had the time to do it or never had the income. So I started using that aspect. So there's so many aspects of why did you do it? Start there. Why did you say yes? Now think about it. Some other people say yes the same reason you did. Ms. Tisha Deshields, again, thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't see any more questions. Co-hosts, did anybody come to y'all with direct questions? Okay.
No, ma'am.
All right. Well, thank you. Phenomenal job. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate you so, so much. Anything you would like to close with? And we're about to get out of here.
All righty. Well, thank you for having me. This was a plum pleasing pleasure to serve with you tonight. I had fun. I love sharing my story and sharing how this business has literally changed zip codes and, allowed for me to go from chasing the bag to having the bag chase me.
Ooh,
so if you're listening in as a guest and you want to go from chasing the bag to the bag chasing you, I encourage you to get back with that person that invited you on tonight's Zoom. And let's go from being that bootleg travel agent to being a merchant and tapping into this $9 trillion industry where you can literally have the bag chase you down. So with that being said, good night, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Listen, guests, get back with the person that invited you. Get back with them tonight. It takes 10 to 15 minutes to get your business up and running. And we can show you how to start making money now. Y'all, again, this business is bigger than you. You may not understand the whole aspects, but get your questions answered if you have questions and you would ask them privately. And let us show you exactly how this business can benefit you. It's for everybody. It's no respecter of person. Whether you got money, you don't have money, whatever else. This can be for you. Thank you, everybody. Y'all have an amazing rest of your night. Thank you, Mr. Shields. Thank you, Miss Gloria Summersoft, for opening up the Zoom tonight. Thank you.